What's up, everyone? Welcome to the NBA Pick and Pod. My name's Dawson Shine, and today we're going to be talking about some of the most morbid news I've heard in NBA history. Obviously, that's not true, it's an exaggeration, but we have Kevin Durant's final decision, and man, did it suck for NBA fans besides the Warriors ones. Yep, that's right. Kevin Durant, yeah, you know, the guy that was MVP in 2014 over one LeBron James, the guy who averaged 28 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists last season, took the Warriors to a 7-game series in the Western Conference Finals with the Thunder, and on top of that, had a 3-1 series lead and choked it away himself in Game 6, shooting 10 for 31. He went and joined the opposing team. He became the definition of if you can't beat him, join him, and signed a 2-year, $54.3 million contract with the Golden State Warriors today. Is expected to sign a 2-year, $54.3 million contract. He will be signing that contract July 7th, which is in 3 days, which gives him 3 days to either renege on that contract deal or the Warriors to make the cap space necessary and sign him. Obviously, this disappoints me and many NBA fans because, first of all, it is one of the weakest chicken shit things I've ever seen. Forewarning, put headphones on, I'm pissed. This action by Kevin Durant is one of the most spineless things I've ever seen done because he not only joined a super team, he joined the best regular season team of all time, which he almost beat in the playoffs with his old team. You know, the same roster that's actually improved this offseason, you know, besides the losing of Kevin Durant. And yet, he went and decided, you know what? I want the easier path. I want the road more traveled. And he went and joined the Warriors, the super team. Because the Warriors actually have the cap space with the new offseason jump in the cap to sign him. Now, this only happened because their Steph Curry, 2-time MVP, is on such a cheap contract. He is on a $12.1 million contract, which is actually now the fourth highest paid player on the Warriors. Durant will be number 1 now this season, followed by Klay Thompson at $16.5 million, Draymond Green at $15.5 million, and then Curry. Because earlier in his career, Curry had a lot of difficulty with staying healthy and with his ankles. That allowed the Warriors to build this super team with a huge amount of cap space and a large amount of depth due to not having to pay their star player, their MVP caliber player, Steph Curry, any big money or max contracts. And it's ridiculous because now we have a team who has 2 MVP caliber players who have combined to win the last 3 awards, as well as 2 all-stars in their prime of their careers. It's ridiculous. And I can't fathom how this has happened. I mean, it goes against everything the NBA has been working towards, which is league parity. This leaves 2 foregone conclusions for both conferences now. We all know who's coming out of the Eastern Conference. It's the Cleveland Cavaliers, barring injuries. And you know who's coming out of the Western Conference now, most likely? The Golden State Warriors. Because now their team is stacked, especially their starting lineup. Talk about an improvement. They're going to be letting Harrison Barnes sign with the Mavericks for a max deal and renounce his rights so that they have the cap space, or clear some of the cap space, to sign Durant. I mean, what an improvement. Harrison Barnes, the guy who didn't show up to any of the finals games, is now going to be upgraded with Kevin Durant. I can't believe this happened. It honestly is just sickening and frustrating to watch because I wanted to see more parity in the league. Originally, we were going to have 4 good contenders in the Western Conference, if not more. The Spurs, the Warriors, the Thunder, and the Clippers. But now, guess who we have as contenders? The Warriors, and that's it. It's ridiculous. Kevin Durant couldn't beat him, so he joined him. And NBA players around the league are frustrated and pissed. I remember Jay Crowder, he tweeted out today, he's a player for the Boston Celtics, a small forward, tweeted out, "Wow, are you serious?" And also Paul Pierce tweeted out, former Celtics legend, "If you can't beat him, join him." That's ridiculous. If you can't beat him, get better. Build around the team that almost beat them this year and should have if they didn't choke, if Durant didn't choke. But instead, he was a wuss. He couldn't handle it, and he joined not only a super team that was already there, but he joined one of the best teams of all time. This isn't like when LeBron made his decision back in 2010 and decided to go and join the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat, the year before that, won 43 games. They only had Wade. Bosh and LeBron James both signed in the offseason to create that super team that was so frustrating for 4 years to watch go to the finals endlessly. But this team was already a 73-win team before Durant signed with them. That means they had 30 extra wins already and the reigning two-time MVP. And now, Durant ditches Westbrook and goes ahead and signs with Steph Curry, one of his formidable opponents. I can't believe this happened. And I am so pissed because I wanted to see an actual parity league where teams can fight each other and go at it, and you don't necessarily know who's going to win the Western Conference. Now we know. As long as the Warriors continue to have good chemistry, they're winning this. The only thing one can hope is that them clearing cap space, which they're going to have to do using a variety of methods that I'm going to get into in 1 second, is going to cost them their depth, which is what was really, really important to why they were winning so often this year. See, now in order to clear the cap space in order to sign Durant, because they still don't really have enough, they had to trade Andrew Bogut and his 2016-17 contract to the Dallas Mavericks, who have just recently agreed for that deal, because they need to clear the $11 million in cap space. Also, they renounced the rights to Festus Ezeli. And they may even trade Andre Iguodala, who is a huge, huge component to their bench unit. The only player that they've notified who is going to be safe from the bench is Sean Livingston. And they also agreed to sign a 1-year, $2.9 million deal with Zaza Pachulia to help bolster up their centers and their big men. Because obviously losing both Bogut and Ezeli is going to cost them a lot of rim protection and defense especially. Now I'm going to take a second here and sound completely petty, but man, do I hope that this cost them their entire depth and they can't win a series in the playoffs. I could not wish for anything more than to have their second unit be so trashed that every time they're put on the floor, they lose their lead. Because they're going to be costing their team this depth. Losing both Bogut, Barnes, maybe Iguodala, Ezeli. It's that kind of loss for the team after winning 73 games might really screw up their overall chemistry. And that's the only way they're not going to be a foregone conclusion to sweep through this Western Conference. Because their starting talent is absolutely ridiculous. It's something never seen before. And I don't even know how to talk about it. They've reached such a whole new level of super team that there's not enough salt in the world to describe the hatred that the Warriors are now garnering online and in every person's heart that I know. Because this team was originally homegrown. They did draft most of their players. They kept them all. They signed up players who were on some waivers like Sean Livingston, who really wasn't sure if he could contribute to a good playoff team, or Iguodala, who was trying to find a new prime of his career. And yet, they built that team from scratch and turned it into a contender and a champion. But now they just go out and they get Durant, who decides he can't actually grow a pair of balls and win a championship in OKC, the team that supported him for 9 years through his struggles in the playoffs, or his struggles in the court, or his struggles to stay on the court. And yet, he ditches them so he can go join a super team that already won 73 games. He turned into a supervillain so fast, all it took was his one player Tribune post, and that was it. I don't care how many thank yous or how many loving fans and loving, environment that he says on Twitter or Facebook about the OKC organization and town. He has made enemies out of everyone in the league. So many people hate him right now, and it's ridiculous. LeBron has become the white knight of the NBA, and it happened in minutes. The minute that player Tribune post said that Durant was going to the Warriors, all of a sudden LeBron came the only saving grace to actually stop this Warriors team. And if he can do it, that'd be incredible. Because what the Warriors have done with the way the cap jump worked and the way they were able to sign Curry to such a small contract, they've created a team that eliminates any chance of some of the middling teams in the Western Conference to even stand a chance of competing. It's so sad because the NBA was trying to move towards more parity league, and that's why they even wanted the cap jumps to be gradual, so something like this couldn't happen. But it did, because Kevin Durant has no balls, and the cap jump was too immediate. And to me, it's sickening because Kevin Durant's also a hypocrite. 2010, when LeBron James joined the Miami Heat, Kevin Durant himself tweeted out July 16th, 2010, "Now everybody want to play for the Heat and the Lakers. Let's go back to being competitive and going at these peoples." You know what, Kevin Durant? How about you go at them yourself instead of joining the team that beat you in the playoffs? Or back in 2015, when KD said, "I'm one of those guys that would love to stick it out with one team my whole career. I would love to get my jersey retired here." Well, they're going to be hanging up a jersey that's got a couple of burn holes in them at this rate, because they're going to start burning the jerseys like it's LeBron in 2010 in Cleveland. It's crazy. And also, this might guarantee a lockout in the NBA. Yes, another lockout in 2 years, because the CBA can be voided in 2 years. The last time the CBA was voided was largely because LeBron went to Miami Heat. The owners didn't want a super team because it hurts a lot of the local ticket sales. It really, really damages them. And although the recent TV money and the TV contract that caused these cap jumps should have prevented any lockout in 2 years, this completely anti-competitiveness move by the Warriors and Durant might actually force the owners to go to negotiation table, because the Players Association might need to add restrictions on player movement. Something like a franchise tag that the NFL has, anything like that, because it shouldn't be allowed in the NBA. Remember back when David Stern was the president of the NBA, and he actually voided a trade by the New Orleans Hornets to send Chris Paul to the Lakers back when Kobe was in his prime and all of that, because he said basketball reasons. If Chris Paul went to the Lakers, it would have created too much of a dynasty and eliminated parity in the league. Well, that same thing is happening right now, and unfortunately the league can't stop it because of the way contracts work. Durant was able to make himself a villain. The Warriors became the most hated team in NBA right now, and we only have LeBron as a saving grace to try and stop this very uncompetitive conference now. It's crazy to think about that we have two big super teams, one in each conference, that can actually win a championship, and then the rest are just fighting for second, or worse, they're just fighting to not be in the lottery. That's pretty sad to think about, and unfortunately, I think it's very bad for the league's product and the league's popularity to only have one team have a chance to win a title, or two at best. That's unfortunate, and I think Kevin Durant deserves to be hated for it. I mean, he deserves everything that's coming at him right now, for being a hypocrite, for being an absolute wuss in everything he just decided to do today, and for creating a team because he couldn't actually win on his own. That's weak. And honestly, I hope he fails so much. Hope he never wins a ring at this rate. And I am so salty. I can admit it. I am so jealous and salty at this point. But it's true. I hope he doesn't, because this is just uncompetitive and weak. But I want to hear your guys' opinions. Do you guys think that Durant made the right move in his case, in the Warriors' case, or in the NBA's overall case? What do you think? Because I obviously know my opinion, which is that he made the wrong decision for the NBA and for himself. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Also, if you love this rant, I guess you can like and subscribe. And have a great night, everyone. Hopefully tomorrow we have better news. Thanks.